It is Tuesday, July the 25th. MLB first pitch live today on Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, and archived 24/7 here on YouTube for your viewing pleasure. And don't forget, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, some getaway, which means there's daytime games, which means we'll be on even earlier. So check back Wednesday morning and Thursday morning for early editions for some bonus daytime content here on MLB first pitch on WagerTalk TV. Yet another reason to hit the bell for instant alerts when you subscribe here on WagerTalk TV. I am Steve Merrill, filling in for Joe Ranieri, filling in for Dan Newbert, and we're going to be back here with some great handicappers on Tuesday. And let's bring them on here, a loaded panel, as we've got Jeff Michaels, 2 for Tuesday, $2 Tuesday. We saw him on Wager Talk today. He's back to talk more baseball, some different games from Wager Talk today. Jeff Michaels in just a moment. Goldsheet.com, Eric Pauly, Goldsheet is here, and Rob Vino as well, WagerTalk.com. And Jeff, hey, we did it a couple hours ago. We mentioned you got a strong $2 Tuesday best bet in baseball, so we wanted to have on the baseball show as well. But I also want to mention, little spoiler alert, that we talked about doing some research on a first road game after extended homestand. You did get some data. It was very interesting, and we're going to save it for a special weekend video that you and your dad and myself are going to do on Friday afternoon. So once again, hit subscribe, hit the bell for instant alerts, as we will have some weekend baseball content later this week with Jeff and Ralph Michaels and myself, Steve Merrill. But Jeff, with no further ado, $2 Tuesday, strong best bet tonight at WagerTalk.com. But give us a little big game breakdown for the show as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Talked baseball earlier, and you want to talk about a big game. I don't know if there is a bigger game on the card than Toronto heading out to LA tonight. And, I like the Blue Jays here. I'm going to take them on the run line in the first half and get them at minus 115 plus that half run. But Toronto's actually been hitting lefties pretty well. They haven't been slugging it for a lot of power. The OPS isn't super high, but they're third in the league in the last 30 days in batting average and on base percentage off of lefties. And they're actually eighth in the league in WRC plus. So they're getting some solid contact off of lefties. And, really, obviously in the first five, you're looking at these starting pitchers, and Julio Urias has some deceiving stats, in my opinion, because he does have some pretty solid numbers at home, but four of his last five home starts have been against teams with a losing record, and he actually lost one of those against the Cubs. So he hasn't faced a team at home with a winning record since May 2nd. And the Dodgers are just 3-6 in his non-division starts, while Toronto's won five straight Bassett starts. They're 10-4 in his night starts, and they're actually 6-1 in his interleague starts. He's got a 2.2 ERA, while Urias has an ERA of over 14.5 in interleague. So I like Toronto here tonight, taking a run and a half just in case we get a push there after the fifth inning. We'll take that half run cushion and take the Blue Jays in this big game tonight.
Yeah, Blue Jays had a little bit of a plus 105 dog last night, cashing in LA. LA was returning home off the road trip as well, so it wasn't a great spot for him. See how this game goes tonight. Toronto's a team that's really underachieved this year in that ultra-competitive AL East, so wouldn't be surprised to see them make a run here in the near future now that we're in the second half of the season. All right, that's Jeff Michaels. Once again, Jeff is the $2 capper at WagerTalk.com. You're getting a strong MLB best bet for just $2 tonight from Jeff Michaels at WagerTalk.com. Speaking of Wager Talk, you can also find the Gold Sheet at WagerTalk.com and also find them at GoldSheet.com. And Eric Pauly is the GoldSheet.com here on the baseball show today. And Eric, a little prop action here, prop talk for your big game breakdown in MLB tonight.
Yeah, so I'm looking at Blake Snell of the San Diego Padres to go over 7.5 strikeouts tonight at home against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Snell, since really the middle of May, has been on an absolute tear outside of his last start against the Blue Jays in Toronto, but that's always a tough place to play. And based on the way Snell has been pitching leading up to that, I'm not going to say he was necessarily due for a letdown, but it's very hard to be pitching 8+ Ks in 6 of 10 starts like Snell has done in his last 10 starts, with 2 of those starts, which he missed, actually ending at the 7 number. So Snell has been absolutely on point. And he, as a lefty, has been much better against right-handed pitching. And Pittsburgh brings a very right-handed heavy lineup into this matchup. Also adding on to the fact that Snell has a 39.2% K rate at home, this is just really a ideal matchup for Blake. So breaking it down even more just in the month of July, Snell is fourth in the MLB in swinging strike rate. He's sixth in K through 9, and has the fifth lowest outside the zone contact percentage. Snell is so good at getting people to chase. Now, Pittsburgh doesn't chase a lot, but like I mentioned, their right-handed heavy lineup is a bad matchup for Snell. And since the 1st of July, Pittsburgh is fifth in strikeout rate. They're 12th in swinging strike percentage, and they're 23rd in outside the zone contact percentage, meaning that even though they aren't chasing that much, when they are chasing, they're not making contact. Snell, again, also with those whiffs, fourth in swinging strike rate. Pittsburgh, 12th in swinging strike rate. They're whiffing at these pitches. So Snell, 7.5. It's a little bit juiced at minus 145, but I still like it with that juice because this is a fantastic matchup for Snell.
It's offensive breakout last night, 13 hits, 8 runs. We'll see if they can do it again. They've been a pretty mediocre offensive team all season. And Eric thinks the strikeout prop is the way to play that game tonight. Pittsburgh at San Diego, a late game on the West Coast. All right, our third capper here on the show Tuesday. Last but definitely not least, number 1 in your heart, number 1 in your program, number 3 on the show in the lineup. But we'll take it. Rob Vino, WagerTalk.com. And Rob, I talked about that AL East. Blue Jays may be due to make a run. The Red Sox also a little bit of an underrated team. They'd be in first in the Central right now. They've been basically the bottom of their own division. Otherwise, the Braves are for real. 30 games above 500. How you playing this one tonight? Big game breakdown indeed. Atlanta at Boston.
Yeah, how are you today, Steven? Let me just say, glad to be here with Jeff and Eric today. Usually don't get to talk with these guys about baseball, football, or whatever. Glad our paths crossed here. Hey, Steve, I kept this one really, really simple, and there were not numbers on this game for quite a while here. Until about an hour ago Eastern time, I didn't really see much on this game, so it was difficult to figure out which way to go here. But I'm going to go Braves full game. Minus $1.40 just seems a little bit shy here, and what's going to be a bullpen game for the Boston Red Sox. It looks like Jakes may get the start here. I'm not sure which one of these bullpen guys is going to get the start. But for Boston, it's going to be a compilation of pitchers against an Atlanta team. You know, the first thing I thought of here is you're going to put the Braves offense in Fenway Park, pesky pole, green monster. How many balls are they going to bounce off the left field fence? How many of these lefties are going to whack it over that short porch in right field? So the Braves offense, which is number 1 in home runs, obviously, throughout Major League Baseball by a mile, as a matter of fact. And most of these statistical edges are by a mile over their next closest competitor. But in slugging percentage, OPS, and it doesn't even matter if you split it up the home road. They hit the ball just as well on the road. They carry the same number 1 rankings on the road as they do overall. So the Boston pitching staff probably in for a little bit of trouble here today. And defensively, you know, I happened to be in Wrigley Field a couple of weeks ago to watch the Red Sox and the Cubs, and the Red Sox still struggle a little bit defensively, so that could play a part in this. Atlanta, aside from being a power team, they just terrorize left-handed pitching at this point in time. So I think this is tough if Jakes gets the start here for Boston, a tough ask for the Boston pitchers, and especially, I guess, for the Boston offense to keep pace with what I think Atlanta's going to do here. Charlie Morton's been pretty hot, which just adds to the reasons why you run to back Atlanta here. The team had won 5 straight. He had won 5 straight until facing Arizona last time out. But his 3 prior starts to the Arizona game, I think I said Atlanta before the Arizona game, 19 innings pitched, 11 hits, only 1 earned run allowed. He has started a game against Boston so far this season. That was back on May the 9th, 6 innings pitched by Charlie Morton. Red Sox only got 5 hits, 2 runs, and Morton struck out 7 in that game. As it gets deeper, guys, I think the bullpen edge increases. I think Atlanta's probably more than $1.40 favorite when bullpens match up here, innings 6 through 9, innings 7 through 9, whatever you think is going to happen here. Obviously, Boston's going to have bullpen guys in all game long. But for Atlanta, they're rested, and their bullpen whip happens to be number 1 in Major League Baseball right now. It led to a comment made by manager Brian Snitker, who said, it's nice to have a bullpen that's got stuff. And certainly they've got a lot of arms that have stuff right now. It was shown over the weekend against Milwaukee. Red Sox pen, meanwhile, even though they had a day off to rest yesterday, that bullpen was super stressed against the Mets in that weekend series. Yeah, against the Mets in that weekend series. So, Boston needs the game, guys. They're 2.5 out of a wild card here. They are at home, but I just don't know that they can overcome all the disadvantages here where Braves offense is concerned against the Red Sox pitching and where Braves pitching is concerned against Red Sox offense. So I just think Atlanta probably outscores them here. If I'd have seen a run line number, I might have gone Braves run line here, being that they're the visitor and we know we're going to get the 9 at-bats, but I'll stick to full game money line, Braves minus 140.
Yeah, and I said earlier, the Red Sox last in the division. They are still at last, but they're tied for last right now with the Yankees at exactly 53 and 47. And the Yankees, of course, have the Mets next few nights. And by the way, they would be exactly tied for the AL Central lead, and they're tied for last right now in the AL East. That's how tough that division is this year. Red Sox Braves, 7 o'clock Eastern tonight on Tuesday. All right, that's some big game breakdown from our 3 cappers here. Now let's go around the horn and get a best bet for the show. And we'll start with Jeff Michaels. And once again, Jeff giving us a free play here on the show, but his best of his best bets is definitely the $2 play. Jeff, tell us more about the strong $2 Tuesday best bet and give us a little free action here for the show as well. You're muted.
Sorry,
I was gonna mess with you, Jeff. I was gonna mess with you and do. I've got a $2 best bet, but I couldn't do it because it's too important. We got to hear from you.
I was screaming over here, all excited about it, and I figured not everybody needed to hear me screaming the whole time. But I apologize. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, guys. On a 5-2 run, limited 4% or higher plays that I've given out in the MLB recently, but we got a big 5% interleague play up for tonight. So looking forward to that. But I'm headed to the NL matchup here, not a divisional matchup, but St. Louis headed out to Arizona, and St. Louis is a team that's finding a way to kind of turn things around here. And I'm sticking with my first half trend, and I'm sticking with the run line, and I'm going with St. Louis here too on the road in the first 5. Again, similar to what I mentioned with Toronto, it was a play on Toronto, what they've done against lefties here and the pitching edge that I think that they have. And it's similar case here. Arizona's on the opposite end of that spectrum going up against lefties, and the Cardinals have Steven Matz on the mound tonight. Arizona has the 4th worst OPS versus lefties in the last 30 days. They have the 2nd worst batting average. They have the 4th worst on base percentage and the 3rd worst OPS, And, in the first 5, St. Louis is actually 10-2 as a road dog in their last 12 against a right-handed pitcher. And Arizona is just 1-5 in their last 6 at home as a home favorite in non-divisional matchups. So St. Louis has gotten out to an early edge, even if they haven't been able to close that. But the biggest thing here to me is actually Merrill Kelly. He's had some upsides. He's actually had a lot of positives this year, but he's coming off a 15-day IL stint that he was injured. He had a calf injury. He hasn't pitched in nearly a month, and he actually has a decent record against the Cardinals in his career. But when I broke it down a little bit further, there's a little bit of a history on this Cardinals roster that doesn't carry over to his record directly against the Cardinals, because Wilson Contreras is 4 for 7 with a home run and 2 RBIs in a Chicago Cubs jersey off of Merrill Kelly. And Nolan Arenado in his career is hitting .308 with a home run and 4 RBIs, with 3 of his games coming in a Colorado Rockies uniform. So Merrill Kelly has performed well against the Cardinals in one aspect, but he hasn't quite performed as well against this Cardinals lineup from a different perspective there. So pair that in with, some rust that you're going to have to shake off coming off of an injury like this, along with the fact that the Cardinals are actually on the up and up, and the Diamondbacks have struggled. So first 5, again, getting that plus a half run, it's sitting -130, -135. But I do think that there's a lot of value there. just to play it in the first half and basically to attack Merrill Kelly coming back in his first start here with a couple bats that have seen him well in his career.
Jeff Michaels telling you to take a look at the Cardinals early in the game tonight as a freebie here for this show. And once again, Jeff gave 2 bonus baseball plays on Wager Talk today earlier. And he's also got a huge MLB best bet for $2 Tuesday right now at wagertalk.com. So lots of baseball from Jeff Michaels, and the fun has just begun. Get that $2 best bet for tonight on Tuesday at wagertalk.com. All right, let's turn our attention to Eric Pauley, goldsheet.com, wagertalk.com. And Eric, most profitable team in baseball the last couple of seasons, the Orioles at the defending NL pennant winners, World Series participant Phillies. Big game here tonight. Which way are you going in this one?
Yeah, if you're going to keep putting plus money with the Baltimore Orioles, I think that like you mentioned, as one of the most profitable teams in baseball over the last 2 seasons, you got to continue to bet on the Baltimore Orioles, especially in a matchup like this against the Phillies, where there is no real advantage that Philadelphia has over Baltimore in this particular game. So Baltimore, of course, just short dogs, but you have Kyle Gibson going, the ex-Philly, against Taijuan Walker, who's put together another nice season for the Philadelphia Phillies. But when I'm taking a look under the hood at Taijuan Walker a little bit, something that sticks out to me is that while his basic box score stats against left-handed pitching seems to be like he handles them very well, his advanced metrics against lefties, especially at home, are not great. He actually has a 5.11 FIP and a 4.97 xFIP when facing left-handed batters. Now, with Aaron Hicks going to be out, it's going to only probably limit the Orioles to just 4 left-handed bats in the lineup tonight, obviously including switch hitters Adley Rutschman, who should be in the lineup, and Anthony Santander, who will be batting from the left side. So that gives Baltimore another distinct advantage, especially considering also Gunnar Henderson and how well he's been sparking up since around right before the All-Star break, put himself firmly in the Rookie of the Year race. And that's actually a very interesting race that we could discuss on First Pitch another time, that 3-way AL Rookie of the Year race. But digging into Gibson also, something that I've noticed is that he is not a pitcher who allows a ton, or has a big discrepancy, I should say, in his home and away splits. So you really know what you're going to get with Gibson. And the fact that he's pitching in a park that he's obviously very familiar with. Now, there is a situation where potentially the Phillies, are more aware of what could be coming from Gibson because they had a whole year with him. But I just don't believe that to be the case. I'm just looking at a matchup where I have the number 2 team in my power rankings as an underdog against the number 9 team in my power rankings, without there being a huge discrepancy between the starting pitching. So I'm going to go with the hot team and simply the better team at a plus money price, and we'll live with the results from there.
Baltimore Orioles are the most profitable team in baseball, and large reason, like Eric says, because you keep getting the plus money and they keep winning in the underdog role. And he thinks it can happen again tonight against Rob Vino's Philadelphia Phillies. And Rob, we're going to turn the attention to you. Let's look at the NL Central. I talked about how bad that AL Central is. The NL Central has been equally bad this year, but there are 2 teams fighting for that one playoff bid out of that league of the division winner, and that's Milwaukee and Cincinnati. Right now, the Reds are a game and a half behind Milwaukee for the division title. They actually are a half a game up in the wild card, so I guess that could be a 2-bid league, but probably not. But more importantly, how do you think we should play this big series tonight between Milwaukee and Cincinnati on Tuesday?
Well, I shortened it up, Steve. I'll play first 5 under the total here, 4.5. I was happy to get the half run attached to this. Actually, 4. I might not have been as gung-ho to get after this, even though I probably would have still been there in maybe a smaller wager form. But 4.5 here, minus 120. Let's start with the obvious. Corbin Burns has become Corbin Burns once again. He's been lights out this month. 4 July starts, 4-0 record, 27 innings pitched. The guy's given up 8 hits in 27 innings, 36 strikeouts to go with that. That's 4-to-1 K to walk ratio for him. This month, the ERA is 1.33 and the WHIP is 0.63. So certainly dominance exhibited by Corbin Burns through the month of July. I figure that continues here. If you go to the advanced metrics for starting pitchers posted on Baseball Savant, you find that nobody hits anything hard off of Corbin Burns. Everything is weak, just an overpowering pitcher. It is a little bit crazy to think he got off to as slow a start as he did, considering what the numbers are. It would appear that he should have been better all along, but he's rolling right now. 2 of the last 4 starts here in July have come against the Cincinnati Reds. So there's familiarity here between this pitcher and this lineup. 2-0 against them, 12 innings pitched against the Reds this month, 19 Ks, 1.50 ERA, 0.92 WHIP. He's got 3 total outings against Cincinnati to increase the familiarity between these two. All 3 have been quality outings. He's got 5 straight quality starts against this team. And I know the Reds are different now. Certainly there have been new insertions into the lineup that have put them in the position they're in the Central. But 5 consecutive outings dating back to last August where Corbin Burnes has thrown a quality start against the Cincinnati Reds. So like him to do well first 5 here, let's take a look at Andrew Abbott, who's kind of the reverse of Burnes. When you look at the baseball savant numbers, he doesn't necessarily overpower anybody. He does it with a pretty solid repertoire of pitches. He goes 4 deep. He does give up some fly balls, more fly balls than ground balls, and he does give up some contact, but somehow he has gotten a 2.10 ERA this year, and he's been able to keep offenses down for the most part. His whip for the season is 0.91. 3 of his July starts have been excellent as well. The only one that wasn't came against these Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee in 4 1/3 got him for 9 hits and 6 earned runs. You could treat that game as a warning sign, which I think you have to a little bit, or you could treat it as an outlier because there's not a lot of other starts that look like that in Andrew Abbott's starts so far this year. He's had 9 of them. Obviously, you get the immediate concern looking at that pitching line from that game. However, he too has thrown 3 times against the Brewers this year. And the other 2 were great. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 6 innings pitched, 1 hit. So again, I'd as much as that would concern me that the Brewers got him pretty well, I would say it's more of an outlier than reality here. And then I dug a little bit just to see how Abbott did in his other 3 road starts this season. Those road starts, guys, came against St. Louis, Baltimore, and Houston. Pretty decent offenses. And in those games, he threw 17 1/3 on the road and only allowed 1 run. So I think Andrew Abbott will be fine first 5 here. Just the basic head-to-head pitching matchup here. As I mentioned, Burnes has dominated the Reds. I think what happens or what helps a little bit for Andrew Abbott is that the Brewers lead Major League Baseball with the highest strikeout rate against left-handed pitching. They strike out almost 27% of the time against lefties. They're 28th in batting average against lefties. They're 28th in on-base percentage against lefties. They're 28th in OPS against lefties. So certainly Milwaukee has not fared well against southpaws this year. We're going to play this thing first 5 innings, though, so we have to look at the first 5 inning results. If I look at Abbott, he's made 9 starts this year. In 9 starts, just counting his first 5 innings in every one of those starts, he's only allowed 1.3 runs per game. And against Milwaukee, he allowed 6. So if you subtract that out and look at the other 8 starts, he's been absolutely dominant first 5. I think he'll do as well here. He's got 5 shutouts, first 5 innings shutouts so far this season in 9 starts. And of course, Burnes with the July hot streak hasn't given up anything. 4 starts. His first 5 inning results have been only 2 runs allowed and 3 first 5 inning shutouts. That's a lot of good pitching numbers. That's a lot of shutout talk for first 5. I think 4.5 is probably too high. If one guy gets hit and the other doesn't, we can still get away with a 4-0 at the end of 5. So I think it's a solid play here. We'll play Reds against the Brewers. First 5 innings with these 2 pitchers. Got to list your pitchers here, guys. Abbott and Burnes, under 4.5, minus $1.20.
In-depth analysis from Rob Vino. First 5 inning in that game tonight between Cincinnati and Milwaukee. And we're going to get to the Gold play of the day in just a moment, but I'm going to give a little bonus free play here as well. A game that was just a bit outside for making the cut. So let's look at a free play for tonight on Tuesday, July the 25th. I do have a 2-for-1 Tuesday night special right now at WagerTalk.com. That means you get both a steamroller best bet and a moneymaker best bet, 2 basically for the price of 1. Go check that out right now, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. But a bonus free play for you on the late card. We're going to take under 8.5 between the Athletics and the Giants. Why not play under with the worst offensive team in baseball and one of the worst teams in the history of baseball, the Oakland Athletics? And they're bad across the board. worst batting average in baseball, worst slugging percentage in baseball, worst slugging and on-base combined percentage in baseball. So we don't have to worry about them doing too much damage. And this team has had 7 hits or less now in 7 of their last 8 games, so they're not in good current form. But the Giants are in terrible offensive current form. They just lost 6 straight. They were on the road since the All-Star break. They're back home tonight for the first time after 11 road games, no rest, and they just went 0-6 to finish the road trip. And it was because the offense was god-awful. They had 6 hits or less in all 6 of those last losses. They've scored 2 runs or less in 5 of the 6. They had exactly 1 run in 4 of those last 6 games. Traveling back home after 2 weeks, no rest against a bad team. I don't see them all of a sudden turning their offense back on tonight. We won't even worry about the pitchers because these 2 offenses alone will keep this game under. Take Giants Athletics under 8.5 minus 120. And don't forget, I've got 2 strong best bets, 2 side selections tonight. 2-for-1 Tuesday night special. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. All right, let's look at the Gold Sheet play of the day. And don't forget about the Gold Sheet at both goldsheet.com and also you can find the Gold Sheet at WagerTalk.com. And the Gold Sheet is going to take a look here on a prop. Let's look a little prop action here from the Gold Sheet. And that's Steven Matz of St. Louis under 4.5 strikeouts against Arizona. Sounds familiar. We've talked about the Cardinals before, and this is the Cardinals team that's underachieved this season. And 8 of the last 12 left-handed starting pitchers to face Arizona have stayed under this number. And Matz has gone over this number just 3 times in the last 3 months. You see the detailed analysis below that you can find on goldsheet.com, that chart and graph. Arizona's lineup has 8th best strikeout rate against left-handed pitching this season. And Matz has pitched into the 6th inning only once since mid-May. Less innings means less strikeouts tonight. And the Gold Sheet likes Steven Matz of St. Louis Cardinals under 4.5 strikeouts against Arizona at minus 110. Good juice on that one as well. You see that chart below from goldsheet.com. You can also get the written analysis, the free pick selection in the free pick section at wagertalk.com, as that's where you can find the Gold Sheet as well. Once again, great show on Tuesday. Don't forget Eric Pauly is part of the Gold Sheet. Follow Eric and Gold Sheet at WagerTalk. That's Rob Vino, wagertalk.com. And don't forget Ralph Michaels' son, Jeff Michaels, and I will all be doing a show this Friday. So hit subscribe, hit the bell for instant alerts for that baseball video this weekend. And most importantly, check out Jeff Michaels' huge 2% Tuesday. 5% $2 Tuesday best bet right now. Big $2 Tuesday best bet from Jeff Michaels. And then myself, Steve Merrill, you can find me at wagertalk.com as well. We'll do it again tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday, early daytime editions. So tune in early on Wednesday and Thursday here on Wager Talk TV for some daytime MLB action. Enjoy the games tonight and best of luck.